climbed 2120 South Crater Road at 8:30 this morning. It's now been 1 month since Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 went missing. Rescue crews are once again reducing the size of the search area. Time may have already run out, though, to find it. The plane's black boxes have a battery life of only 30 days. And today is a day that some Windows XP users have been dreading. Microsoft will no longer provide security updates in an attempt to get people to upgrade their systems. And it looks like home computers and ATMs will be the most at risk.
Governor Terry McAuliffe will sign a proclamation today ensuring that women will make the same as their male co-workers. It's part of National Equal Pay Day. It started with the proclamation signed by President Obama last year, which brings awareness to the differences in pay men and women see. There is a major recall involving the buckles on the Evenflo child car seats. The buckles aren't releasing properly and could get stuck in emergency. 1.4 million car seats are affected. Evenflo is providing replacement buckles as well as a video to show parents how to swap them out. And number 7 seeded UConn as college basketball's new champion. The Huskies beat Kentucky in last night's national championship game, 60-54. This is the 4th time in 15 years that UConn's men's basketball team has taken home the title in the women.
Yeah, undefeated UConn women's team taking on the undefeated Notre Dame Irish.
Yeah.
Coming up on CBS this morning, starting at 7, a female wrestler joins the all-male team at her junior high school. I can't wait to hear her story.
Yeah. And how safe is your car? The new crash test results are out this morning. What you need to know before you get behind the wheel.
And here's a quick look at tonight's primetime lineup on CBS 6.
Before severe weather hits, depend on the CBS 6 Storm team to warn you first, alerting you on air, online, and on our free CBS 6 mobile app. Download it today.
Are you having electrical problems? Call Michael & Son for all your plumbing, electrical, heating, and cooling needs. And right now, get $35 off.
If you can't, we can. Michael & Son.
For the last 3 decades, I've been TV's Judge Joe Brown, and before that, a state judge. And I can tell you how important your choice of an attorney can be. After an accident, your choice can be the most important decision you'll ever make. Don't take a chance with your future. Put experience on your side. Marks and Harrison knows about winning. If you've been injured in an accident, tell them you mean business. Call Marks and Harrison right now at 1-800-WIN-WIN-1.
More shopping.
More gear. More fishing trips.
With a car loan as low as 1.99% APR at Virginia Credit Union, you could save more and do more.
More cruising.
More fresh air.
What would you do with more? Virginia Credit Union.
The blueprint for spring is a new suit. Right now at Men's Warehouse, select suits are on sale for only $149.99. Plus, buy one, get one free on almost everything else in the store, including your new blue suit at Men's Warehouse.
Hi, I'm Joel Bieber. You've been in an accident, and that skilled insurance person for the other driver calls and tells you you don't need a lawyer and you can trust them. Keep it between the two of you. Then they pull out a recorder to record your statement. Well, what do you say? You can choose to say no thanks to the other side. You don't have to give a recorded statement, and you don't have to sign their small print paperwork. Instead, choose to let me help you. Call right now. Call Joel Bieber.
Don't miss the quality exhibitors at the Richmond Antiques Extravaganza at the Richmond Raceway Complex this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Important investigations. CBS 6 News. Watching out for you.
Are you having plumbing problems? Call Michael & Son for all your plumbing, electrical, heating, and cooling needs. And right now, get $35 off.
If you can't, we can. Michael & Son.
I am a multi-sports guy, at least I like to think that I am. Over the years, I've been a runner, I've been a swimmer, I've been a cyclist, I've done yoga, I've lifted weights. I wouldn't say I am a dancer, made attempts. One thing I've never been is bored. I feel like, I want my workout to stagnate, I want my fitness to continue to grow, so, you gotta change it up, you gotta do new things, do different things constantly. If you like new things, join the family.
CBS 6 closed captioning sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Commonwealth Power Sports, exit 54 off I-95.
You're watching CBS 6 News This Morning, winner of the Emmy Award for Best Early Newscast.
We have a traffic mess in Petersburg just along Crater Road near Morton Avenue. We have cones that are out due to a water main break. Crews are trying to repair this as fast as they can. However, we do have flashing lights in the area. If you're trying to turn into that business there, you can take a look. Our turn lanes are closed as well as some travel lanes. Let's take you out to our maps. We do have one crash on the board. State Police just picked up Route 288 on our northbound side, just as you're approaching our Midlothian Turnpike. Now the ramp is open, but take a look. Green changing over to red. That indicates that we're starting to see some major brake lights. Harry?
Okay, thanks, Kristen. Let's look at our 7-day forecast. Overall rain chances are very low over the next 7 days, but I will tell you there are a couple of times when you'll probably want to have that small backpack or purse umbrella handy. That's tomorrow afternoon and then again on Saturday afternoon. But for today, we'll gradually see peaks of sunshine. I promise the sun will come out, but it's going to take some time.
Thank you, Annie.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, April 8, 2014. Welcome to CBS This Morning. Tornadoes tear through North Carolina. Severe storms destroy homes, flip cars, and flood neighborhoods across the South.
The Blade Runner is back on the witness stand. Oscar Pistorius admits he had some problems with the girlfriend he shot to death.
And they are celebrating in Connecticut. UConn beats the odds to win the NCAA title.
But we begin this morning with a look at today's eye-opener, Your World in 90 Seconds.
Everything that's going up in the air just swirling around.
Spring storms slam the South.
Tornadoes tore the roofs off houses, brought down power lines,
triggering flash floods and water rescues.
It was moving like a river.
Ships so far have failed to reconfirm the signal that could be from black boxes belonging to Flight 370. Dramatic testimony this morning at the Oscar Pistorius trial in South Africa.
Pistorius broke down as he read one message that Reba had sent him.
I'm scared of you sometimes and how you snap at me.
A gunman opened fire inside an LAPD station. A police officer had wounded.
The officer was shot 7 times. He was saved, though, by his body armor.
This most improbable tournament run comes to an end with a UConn championship.
This is pure pandemonium here on the UConn campus. This party is raging.
You're looking at the hungry Huskies. This is what happens when you banned us last year. We worked so hard for it.
Married freshman Congressman Vance McAllister is apologizing after a video emerged apparently showing him kissing a staff member.
The Navy has rolled out its newest secret weapon that can obliterate incoming missiles.
Oh, that? Oh, remain in the car in the wall. Hard in turn number 1. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Get out there, left, stop fire, get out.
How about this duo right here? 42nd and 43rd presidents enjoying the game together.
And all that matters.
The Beep offered his own take on what it's like being married to a teacher.
Jill is probably right. I think I'd have the same attitude did I not sleep with a community college professor every night. Of the same one. The same.
On CBS This Morning.
A woman was recently conned out of $86,000 from a guy she met on Match.com. Even worse, he still hasn't called.
This morning's eye-opener is presented by Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome to CBS This Morning. Good morning, Norm.
Good morning, Charlie.
We begin with this. Millions of people in the southeast are bracing for more severe weather today. Flash flooding already killed 2 people.
Vicente Arenas is in Belhaven, North Carolina, where tornadoes destroyed several homes.
Good morning. You can see the damage that was caused by the storm that moved through here. The tops of these trees were twisted and thrown into this front yard, and so was metal. These storms spawned tornadoes and heavy rains all the way from North Carolina to Florida.
2 tornadoes touched down around 4 p.m. in this rural area of eastern North Carolina last night. From a distance, this twister was caught on camera.
The storm lasted just 7 minutes,
The
but that
wicked.
was still enough to take out power lines,
Wipe 'em
wood
out,
cars,
Father.
and level homes.
Wipe them
At
out,
least
the wicked
13
and the
people were
evil.
treated for injuries at local hospitals, including a father and son. Levi Spencer says he was driving this pickup truck when winds tossed it across the road and into a field.
Anytime you see a man walking away and got in the rescue squad, thanking God, crying and stuff, and me and myself, we cried all the way here.
The Carolina storm comes just one day after a tornado touched down, carving a 16-mile path in central Mississippi, leveling communities overnight. Heavy rains quickly
My
followed,
Lord,
and a
protect your
9-year-old
people.
girl was killed after flash flooding pulled her into a culvert.
My
By
Lord.
morning, some areas had seen more than 8 inches of rainfall. Many in Mississippi and New Orleans were left with destroyed homes and little to salvage. But for some, knowing their families were safe meant much more.
Oh my God, that's all that matters. All this stuff can be replaced. I mean, it's just a house, that can be replaced. You can't replace somebody if they get hurt.
As heavy winds and rain moved across the South, roads in Alabama flooded. Drivers quickly abandoned their cars, and those who didn't faced dangerous conditions. In Birmingham,
The
Alabama,
developers.
rescue workers evacuated more than 120 people from their homes, and downed trees blocked major highways.
The storms also caused problems for travelers. As many as 6,000 flights were delayed across the country. Another 500 were canceled. This morning, though, things are getting back to normal. Charlie?
Vincente, thanks. Strong winds in Daytona Beach, Florida overturned a single-engine plane last night. The Cessna had just landed when a gust flipped it over. The 2 student pilots were not injured. Meteorologist Megan Glaris from CBS station WBBM is tracking the severe weather.
Good morning. It certainly has been an active start to this week with over 100 reports of severe weather in just the past 24 hours as the storm system continues to progress on off to the east. We have reports of tornadoes, of wind damage, of hail, of lightning strikes, and in addition, flooding has been a major factor in the deep south. Now, the storm system itself will continue to push on off to the east today, but the tail end of the system could mean strong to severe storms for parts of central Florida this morning and rain for New England. In and of itself, that rain would not create flooding, but combined with snow melt, we do have the possibility of seeing some minor river flooding or ice jam flooding. By the way, there's still up to 20 inches of snow in place in parts of New England.
All right, Megan, thank you. Oscar Pistorius is back on the witness stand this morning in his murder trial. The double amputee track star, known as the Blade Runner, is describing the night that he shot his
murderer.
girlfriend. Correspondent and CBS News contributor Deborah Pata is in Pretoria, South Africa, with the dramatic testimony. Deborah, good morning.
Another emotional day in court. Oscar Pistorius sobbing uncontrollably in the witness stand as he begins to describe what happened in the early hours of Valentine's morning last year when he shot his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. By all accounts, the evening before the shooting was an uneventful one. They retired early to bed. He locked the bedroom door and put a cricket bat near it for extra security.
I was getting increasingly tired, and I said to her, do you want me to close the doors, or will you close them when you fall asleep? Will you bring in the fans and close the curtains and lock the door when you fall asleep? And she said to me that she would. And then I fell asleep.
Now, the defense is trying to portray Oscar Pistorius as a vulnerable man. At one point, they asked him to remove his prosthetic legs so the court could see how tall he is standing on his stumps. They want to dispel the image projected by the prosecution that he's violent and gun-obsessed. He's charged with recklessly firing a gun in a public restaurant and then blaming it on a friend. But today, he told a different story.
The next thing I knew, a round went off at the firearm discharged. I was overcome with fear that somebody may have got hurt. So I looked around. The whole restaurant went dead quiet. I couldn't really believe what had happened. I was quite angry initially that Mr. Fresco had handed me an unsafe firearm, one that had a magazine in and one that had a round in the chamber.
But the main focus of today's proceedings has been on what happened when Oscar Pistorius shot his girlfriend, Rita Steenkamp. As he was about to get to that crucial moment in his story, he couldn't take it anymore. He started sobbing uncontrollably and vomiting in the witness stand, so much so that they had to bring a bucket into court for him. Charlie?
Special thanks. The University of Connecticut is celebrating another NCAA basketball championship this morning. The Huskies never trailed last night as they beat Kentucky 60-54. Don Dayla's here with a big victory for a team that was looking for redemption. Don, good morning.
Good morning. You know, many thought UConn had a tough road ahead after longtime coach Jim Calhoun retired just before the 2012-2013 season, and the team was banned from the tournament last year for failing to meet academic standards. But last night, the team took the title and a stance against their critics.
If I can have your attention, if I don't have your attention, let me get your attention.
Alongside his teammates and their Naismith Trophy, senior Shabazz Napier erased any question about a team so many had doubted.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at the Hungry Huskies. This is what happens when you ban us. Last year, 2 years, we worked so hard for it.
With a UConn championship, the Huskies once again are in basketball heaven.
The team that lost its head coach, its conference, and a handful of key players just 1 season ago won it all last night.
For the national championship deep in the heart of Texas.
From the tip-off, UConn dominated the court.
There goes Daniels.
Managing a 15-point lead in the first half.
I take it, and I'm going to go reverse instead.
Inside AT&T Stadium, a record-setting crowd of nearly 80,000 watched, including an unlikely duo.
They go by 42 and 43.
Bipartisan sportsmanship.
Now Kentucky drives in and
common ground seen off the court, but not on, as Kentucky battled back.
He puts the exclamation point on so many follow-ups.
Put the ball up there.
UConn was relentless.
Boat right go.
The Wildcats narrowed the lead, trailing by just 1 point with just over 8 minutes remaining in the game. But UConn responded with back-to-back three-pointers.
Wow. Right over. Here's Gafai, top of the key. And they hit back-to-back threes.
Kentucky never recovered.
Oh, wow. Goodness. And this most improbable tournament run.
Kentucky never recovered. At the buzzer, the crowds both inside the arena and back home in Connecticut erupted. Even 30 arrests couldn't dampen the celebration of the team's 4th national championship in 15 years.
Now tonight, UConn's women's basketball team will play for the championship against Notre Dame. If they win, it will be the second time the school has pulled this off. They first did it in 2004. UConn is the only school to ever win both men's and women's titles in the same year. Charlie, Nora.
Don, thanks. Crews looking for missing Malaysian airliner face another setback this morning. Ships with sophisticated listening gear have been unable to pick up any new signals. They're covering an area where they detected pings over the weekend. Seth Doan is in Beijing, where today marks a grim anniversary. Seth, good morning.
That's right. Good morning to you, Charlie. Yes, just a month ago on March 8th, Flight 370 was scheduled to land here in Beijing. That, of course, never happened. Today in Australia, authorities there coordinating the search urged patience and said the priority is to try to detect additional signals coming from the deep.
Until investigators are certain that the batteries have run out, searchers on the Ocean Shield will continue to try to pick up those signals or pings from the black boxes.
The battery life expires on the device at 30 days. But experience with the kit from around the world is that they usually last longer than the 30 days.
Authorities say they'll drag the towed pinger locator through the ocean for several more days. For now, the submersible vehicle Bluefin 21 will stay above water.
It is a large area for a small submersible that has a very narrow field of search, so it's going to take a long, long time.
Today, up to 14 planes and 14 ships are scouring the nearly 30,000 square mile search zone looking for debris. While some authorities are expressing increased optimism, was cloaked. Australia's Deputy Prime Minister
it was landed,
feeling
the
anxious.
People are safe.
Connections
Let's just see.
Were obviously a time of great hope,
that there had been a significant breakthrough, and it was disappointing that we were unable to repeat that experience.
If it was a disappointment for authorities, the wait has been devastating for weary families. At Beijing's Lido Hotel, there was a quiet vigil today. Steve Wang's mother was on the plane. We need to persist in finding the clues, he said, and finding our relatives.
2/3 of those passengers were Chinese, and there is certainly growing frustration among the passengers' family members we've spoken with. Frustration of false leads, so much speculation. Nora, they just want some closure.
All right, Seth, thank you. And this morning, President Obama plans to sign an executive order aimed at eliminating the pay gap between men and women in the federal government.
Obama, it's
Census
about
figures show in
time,
2012,
boy,
the average American woman earned only 77% of what the average man earned. And the White House staff isn't doing much better than that.
Women.
We have, as an institution here, have aggressively addressed this challenge. And obviously, though, at the 88 cents that you cite, that is not 100, but it is better than the national average.
Major Garrett is at the White House. And Major, so how do White House officials describe this disparity where at the White House women make on average 88 cents for every dollar the men make?
Well, good morning. The White House is getting, as you indicated, Nora, roughed up by its own pay equity rhetoric. An analysis of White House salaries, which nobody here disputes, shows that the median income of female staffers is 88% of that of male staffers. Now, this study also showed that men and women with the same White House jobs earn exactly the same salary. Now, the White House said its gender pay gap is tied to job experience, education, and hours worked, among other factors. This matters because those explanations, according to the Labor Department, explain a good deal of the gender pay gap nationally. The big difference in these stories, when President Obama discusses this issue nationally, he doesn't mention those other work variables, only the broad figure that 77 cents per dollar is what women earn compared to men and median wages. When the factors that the White House used to defend its gender pay gap are used nationally, the Labor Department says the difference in median wages between men and women shrinks to about 5 cents to 7 cents on the dollar.
So, Major, exactly what is the president going to do today?
2 executive orders dealing with federal contract workers. That's a small subset of the labor market. One requires those, one of those executive orders allows workers, men and women, to discuss openly their salaries, and that could uncover some differences in pay. The second requires federal contractors to tell the Labor Department pay levels by race and gender. This is largely an information tool. Economists doubt it will dramatically change pay for federal contract workers.
Major, thanks, Major. The crisis in Ukraine is deepening this morning with the threat of more lost territory. Pro-Russia activists are trying to take control of government buildings in 2 eastern cities. Mark Phillips is in London, where Britain's foreign minister is accusing Russia of trying to destabilize Ukraine. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. Well, it is sounding familiar. Government offices in the eastern Ukraine this time are taken over by people claiming to be pro-Russian Ukrainians. Russia warns the Ukrainian government against taking repressive action that it says could lead to civil war. Ukrainian forces move in to evict the demonstrators, and the tension rises. Once again, the fires are burning in Ukraine, and Moscow is being blamed for stoking the flames. Demonstrators said to be pro-Russian Ukrainians had occupied government buildings in the major cities of Donetsk and Kharkiv. They demanded a referendum, the same device that was used to annex Crimea to Russia. The White House says many of the occupiers were not local and were being paid, presumably by Russian interests. Overnight, Ukrainian forces moved in to try to reclaim the buildings in what they're calling an anti-terrorist operation. The government in Kiev says 70 what it calls criminals were arrested. But the demonstrators still control some government offices in the largely Russian-speaking industrial heartland of eastern Ukraine. And not for the first time, the ugliness spilled over into Ukraine's parliament. When Pietro Simonenko, the leader of the old pro-Moscow Communist Party, got up to accuse Ukraine of bringing its problems upon itself by bringing down the previous pro-Russian government, some of the other members thought they had heard enough. And with the and the fists flying, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is weighed in again, repeating Moscow's claim that it is the West, not Russia, that is destabilizing Ukraine, and he called for talks. But events, not talking, seem to be driving Ukraine toward another East-West confrontation. Charlie?
Mark, thanks. It is time to show you some of this morning's headlines. The Stars and Stripes has new details on last week's Fort Hood shooting. Army investigators say Specialist Ivan Lopez opened fire after March over a request for leave. 3 soldiers died and 16 people were injured before Lopez killed himself.
The New York Daily News reports the Reverend Al Sharpton was an FBI informer. Documents on the Smoking Gun website allege that Sharpton secretly recorded conversations with mob figures in the 1980s using a bugged briefcase. Sharpton says the FBI never told him he was an informant.
USA Today looks at an experiment that appears to reverse paralysis. The findings are in today's journal Brain. Research 4 paralyzed men can lift their legs and move their ankles when an electric current is applied to their spine.
And it is 7:19 and ahead on CBS This Morning. Rising criticism for the parents rescued in the Pacific. Should they have to pay for taking such a big chance? But first, time to check your local weather.
Good morning. There's a temperature spread across central Virginia, a little bit cooler up to the north and west than it is to the south and east because that's where our cold front is coming from. You can see, though, that we are still mostly cloudy. Most of our showers have been tracking off to the south and east away from us. The rest of today, upper 60s.